Hi, floral friends, and welcome back to another episode of Floral Observations. We are here, we're going to review episode 2 of HBO Max's Full Bloom. We are super excited to be back. And so, Garrett, tell us a little about episode 2.
So we are getting into more retail, which I'm fascinated by and I love. It is shop till your petals drop, and we have, again, the same format, an individual challenge that leads to the group leaders of 2 teams and a big group task. Along with our judges this week, we still have Simon, Maurice, and Elizabeth. We have special guest Melody Asana, who is a world-renowned streetwear designer.
Yeah.
We attempted our best at streetwear for you. You're welcome. But we are going to start with nothing to do with marketing or windows or anything. And then the group challenge is going to focus more on our guest judge. So we're starting off with our individual challenge. Our personal task is zero gravity in a provided frame. It's a big old frame.
Which,
it's beautiful.
I mean, that's half the task usually with the zero gravity arrangement.
What's
is
the
figuring
base?
out your mechanics.
Yeah.
So they give them this big old metal cube.
Yeah.
Should be 2 hours.
They have 2 hours, and they gave them their hero flower. Something you don't have to think about. Their hero flower is orchids. You can use orchids in any way you want, but they need to be at the forefront and your focal flower. And that's it. They give you free reign. What is zero gravity to you using orchids? So let's get into it.
Our first designer that we have here is Ace Berry. And I'll go ahead and start. I'm going to give this a bloom. I mean, we see Ace's pink is back. But I think that this is a successful design. There's things that
variety of pink,
exactly,
in a nice way.
There's things that I don't like about it. I think that and one of the judges mentioned the moss balls. I don't think that they're necessarily necessary. Then again, the trichylium, although it maybe looks like that might be kind of hiding some mechanics, but at the same time, it's kind of drawing my eye there a little bit more. So maybe there could have been something else that wouldn't have been so trichylium.
Yeah.
But overall, I think that this is a lovely design. This is it is fully suspended. He has gone. It's great. It's a bloom.
For me, it is also a bloom. I know that Ace is a seasoned competitor. He is always up in that Texas gang, just killing it in competitions. And so we see really awesome techniques. For me, it's a bloom because we're seeing the application technique of threaded orchids. We're seeing exposed root versus using just stems. Where there's opportunities for me, again, these moss balls, Ace, you know what kokedama is. You know that this could have went into the orchids and even emphasized the roots even more. To have these gray roots coming off that moss or makes it even more pop. Or just take them out. The trichylium also is an issue for me because I'm right there with Matt. I think this is hiding mechanic. And if it's not, our minds think you're hiding a mechanic, which isn't good. Yeah. And I also like that he is one of the few and only designers that broke the line of the actual box with this really nicely done orchid ball. So for me, it's a bloom.
Well done, double bloom. Oh,
Chantal. You want to start with this?
I'll start. It's a prune. I'm sorry, darling. It's not cute. It's not cute. It's the same. First of all, it's the same color harmony that we saw from her first design in her first personal task. The orchid is not the hero for me because it is competing so hard with these vibrant carnations, and all that baby's breath. And I'm not here for it. I'm sorry. It's a prune.
I'm gonna prune it too. Kind of the same reasons. It's the same color harmony. It's also got that baby reveal party vibe that Maurice was commenting on. I don't want to go to that party.
No.
This isn't inviting. It's a technique that's actually aged, and we've seen with the rings multiple times. And
then there's this
that
center,
it's like a center bell. I don't know. We're also seeing mechanics and ends of certain stems that also.
That's a water tube, girl.
Which great, you have water to it, but it needs to be hidden or enhanced. So for me, it is a prune. Play with color more. Really push the limits of what your design could be. Mr. Justin, this for me is a bloom. There are opportunities. Understand that. I like how the story is done. If there wasn't a story, I may have a different opinion. But the reason I do like it, if I took the story out, is because everyone else in the room tried to create space. They tried to create mass, where he has made me a line, and this is also an angle thing. On another angle, this is pulling through in a nice, variegated almost way, or a gradient. The roses are a little heavy. I like the skewed box. I know Matt has opinions on that. I like that it breaks my visual symmetry. But I love a weird what's causing, because it's so simple and so clean. The reason I do like it is because it's just so solid and it's breaking it up. Could there be more? Yeah. I think there's opportunities with these orchids. Reflexing, you missed having space and movement. But for me, it's a safe bloom. It's just a safe design. It's nothing extraordinary.
I'll bloom it, but it's going to be very soft. It's a very soft bloom, and it's for these reasons. What you're talking about, breaking the symmetry,
yeah,
and you liking the cube being askew for that reason. The symmetry is already broken by the actual focal of the florals. I don't need this. Bothers me. This looks like it is. It has fallen on one side. It looks unintentional. It looks messy. And it bothers me. It really bothers me. Like in a way that my OCD, like, I'm
and that's why
bothered.
Remember,
I wouldn't be bothered by this being
Yeah.
asymmetrical or off center, because that's already like and also I feel like it's somewhat of a cop out, like that he has he's put the smaller cube inside the bigger cube. This could be done maybe on a slightly even larger scale. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to fill the whole thing, but slightly larger without that. And I feel like it would be just as just as impactful.
Yeah. That's why I think
it's a safe. Yeah, it's a bloom. It's pretty. It's well done for the most part, with the exception of that askew cube. But
you do have mechanical holes.
Got some,
There's opportunities to it to make it even better.
But overall, I think it's lovely. Yeah, soft bloom.
It's important to remember these are our opinions. Yes. These are our own personal styles and looks. We only
and my
see
OCD coming through.
Well, I love to break the line and make things weirdly oriented. Matt does like some kind of order to it. You like the weird, but there still has to be reason to it. So just remember, we're only seeing an image. We're only seeing one angle of it. Spencer!
I'll start. Prune. Here's the deal. There's anytime you take 100,000 beautiful orchids and pile them on top of each other, it is still going to be 100,000 beautiful orchids. So it's going to be pretty, but like that's not a design. It's not something that I haven't seen before, and it's not something that is technically challenging. First of all, it's got the stick that's touching the base, so he's losing zero gravity. I love the exposed roots. I'm a big fan of exposing roots on orchids, but it's unsuccessful. The color harmony's not there. The design of it is not there. This is just a mass of beautiful things hanging, and that does not fulfill the brief to me. So it's a prune.
It's a prune also for me. Along the same kind of lines, I need it to almost hover. It's old. To me, the judges love saying things are dated when they're not really that dated. They can be evolved. This is old. This is LA mass design going to a celebrity, just a bunch of expensive stuff smashed together. There's so many opportunities. While you like the exposed, I do like the exposed roots,
then there's all
but they're still smashed together. It's just boring. It is nothing innovative. He says it's pretty because there's a lot of pretty things. I don't think it's pretty. I think it is lackluster because it lacks any kind of technique or style. Whatever.
It's lackluster because it lacks luster.
It does not have luster in it, and I need it to luster. It's a prune. It's a solid prune.
Ooh, Kristen. Do you want to go first?
I'll go first. I have thought on this, and it is a soft prune. I've actually went back and forth, and Matt knows this. It is a cool concept. It's a great concept. I have so many issues with it. This is unnecessary. This is unnecessary. This is unnecessary. There's exposed wire, and we work a lot with exposed mechanics. This is not intentional exposed mechanics if it's not somewhere else. I think the focus is on this leaf. While you still get the orchids, you still get, that's the focal point. So much is put into the leaf. It is beautiful. It is well done. It's not edited. And there's just so many like this doesn't burst to me
Yeah.
with how it's placed. This could be placed elsewhere, maybe enhanced, but it's unnecessary for how beautifully this is pulling you out of this rib cage. And I also appreciate that she tried to touch someone's rib cage. That was awesome. I would not like to be touched or touch people, but for your design to be that well and know you're going to deboning, I totally prune the concept of that, but I bloom the concept. I bloom what it is, but the actual design I'm pruning.
I'm gonna bloom it. It's a soft bloom, but I'm gonna bloom it. I think it's so cool. That's it. I think it's so cool. Are there things that I would have done differently? Absolutely. Are there things that I think that could have been done differently? Absolutely. I think that she spent a lot of time in getting this boning technique in the monstera, and then left the bursting heart part of the design as a bit. What am I doing? Wrong way. As a bit of an afterthought. And like this, I think is completely unnecessary. I get that's the heart bursting and it's it going away. I just think it's unnecessary because I get enough of a burst here. There's some things with the ruscus. I think it could have been edited. I see a water tube. But overall, I think the concept is so strong that I think that actually takes it to a bloom, and it does meet the criteria of the challenge, in my opinion. So it is a bloom, although a soft one. I would love to see Kristen recreate this with like time on her hands to do, because I think that this is so cool.
It is very cool. Also, she is our first place winner with the design. Concept great, everything's great. It lacks finesse and edit for me, and that's why I win it. So we got a soft bloom and a prune. Oh whoa, baby!
I'll go ahead and start with that because I love it, and it's a bloom. When this popped up on my screen, I got so excited. Of course, there's going to be some minor flaws that I find in it because I am a picky little bitch. And really, the only flaw that I have is that, again, like I said in another design earlier with the touching the base, I see some ferns here, this palm, and some of the asparagus fern on the ground there, and so it's that I take a little bit of issue with. But other than that, I think that this is fantastic. I see the orchids all throughout. I love the way that she's used different color orchids in the same arrangement. All of the other arrangements kind of used, even if they used 2 or 3 varieties of orchids, they were all kind of within the same color palette. Beth really went outside of the box, as you can see, and she went in with a strong concept, and I think that she delivered on it, so it's a bloom.
I give it a bloom. It's not as strong as Matt's. It's a softer bloom because in my looking at this, it's a foliage arrangement with beautifully placed orchids. The orchids are not at the front for me, visually. I don't see them as the hero or focal of this. The painting is impeccable. From the orchids here that are tucked in that have the base purple touched with blue, we have some yellow that's barely touched with orange just because we're barely going into the orange and the reds. Behind this, we actually have woods and stone, I believe. So how she looked at earth and the other elements, that really got me because you can easily do solid colors. How it blends and it gravitates down is great. It's only soft because we have, again, I'm not getting that zero gravity full effect. And to me, it's more focused on the color and the texture of everything than the orchids. The orchids are part of the family. They're not the head of the family for my eyes. But I see where you're coming from. And it is the orchids were very well done using a variety of, not just color, but variety.
Like these beautiful brown lady slippers. I love the way that the brown kind of brings in that earth tones more than just green, which is I feel like what people kind of normally go to. So yeah.
She's beautiful.
Good job, Beth. Connor, baby. I'll start.
You can.
I am going to soft prune. There's a lot of things that I like in here. I'm a crystal baby myself, so I love the crystals. I am immediately drawn to that. There's just some things that are happening that I can't allow. Like I can't. Like this, all of the Spanish moss is really what I'm talking about. I think if all of that Spanish moss was gone, it would have been a very successful design. And I feel like he put all of that there as an attempt to cover up his wire. But just
Yeah.
let the mechanics be exposed, let them be intentional. And I think if he was worried about maybe the silver coming across with the crystals, I don't know what wire choices were available to him. I would have, if it was available, gone with a copper wire with all the crystals and these especially this beautiful kind of peachy orchids, and then the magenta. I think the copper would stand out beautifully. You could talk about the energy transference through the copper. It's all of that Spanish moss. That's what my eye goes to instead of the orchids, and so it's a prune.
It's a prune for me also. The Spanish moss is so unnecessary. After seeing so many designs already with the fishing line or that filament, it makes me question why. And I shouldn't even think about it. I shouldn't even look at it. So I'm just a normal prune. I'm not even soft because I also don't love how we're touching the ground, and you can see, when it's zero gravity, you don't want to see where the points are. And so even the orchids take me to like, I've bound it somewhere here, it has to be bound here. There's a weird darkness here and then light, and that could be lighting, but also you can see that it's colored foliage, darker foam. I'm not a crystal baby, I just like how they look, and I feel like they could have had more intent also. So with the facing and with the moss, it seems very messy. And like, I would love to see this rethought and see how that thought of what you wanted to do with more time, like proper placements. I think I could love this,
and
but I
just leave the Spanish moss out of it.
Yes. So prune. Mariella. I'll start with Mariella. She's very kind. She's very sweet. We've connected with her on the internet.
She's so sweet.
This design, I do not hate, but it is a prune. There's opportunities. And I think that there was a slight miscommunication of kind of zero gravity. With zero gravity, it should be all the way around. It should be an object just floating in space effortlessly.
There should be a lightness to it.
And it's so solid and so, like, we know that it's an umbrella. It's so literal and made so solidly to be literal. I lose that concept of the zero gravity. I think the color harmony is really pretty. However, you had so many opportunities. We heard that there wasn't enough yellow orchids. So she added these callas. When you are going over, or you're sheltering, or you're waterfalling over, whatever's waterfalling is now becoming your focal flower. And so with these callas, they're not only just waterfalling over, they're also creating the whole movement.
Mm-hmm.
So while we're sheltering over, we're creating the movement of it, and it's the only thing I go to.
We all know that there was Design Master on hand.
Even if this was peach, you had taken these pink ones and just hit them with a yellow, or you hit them with like a light orange. Peach would have also went with your beautiful color harmony. Mariella does a great job with color. Natural color, where everyone, I think, either loves paint, some people use it as a crutch. She understands natural color really well. And I just think she was too focused on a literal thing, and she couldn't expand to what it could be.
I think that this arrangement is a beautiful bouquet. I would love to see this bouquet in a photo shoot, the right bride carrying this. I think would be fantastic. When she showed the back of it and we got to see that handle, the mechanics are impeccable on it.
So
she
good.
knows what she's doing. She is a very talented designer. For this brief, however, it's not it. And so for that, I have to prune it. Really, for all the reasons Garrett said, beautiful arrangement, beautiful design. I think it would be super successful in other challenges. This is just not the challenge for it. This isn't a zero gravity orchid bouquet. This isn't what I get.
And it's unfortunately what did send her home this week.
It is.
Which we'll get into later.
Adam! I'm going to start with Adam because I was so excited when I saw him doing this the hot glue in the water with the spray paint technique. It's an old school technique that I'm glad to see coming back. I love old school things coming back. I'm all about the paints and the weird techniques and the fun stuff. However, Mr. Adam, I think he got a little caught up in it. And so I'm gonna have to prune this. I wanted to bloom it. I want to bloom the concept of it. I want to see, this is another one where I want to see him like redo this with more time and stuff, because I think that this could be such a cool design. However, that there's a few things that are so glaring to me that I can't bloom it. We've got exposed ends of stems that aren't wrapped or cuffed or anything like that. He's making these hot glue strings. he could make a few and just wrap the ends of those orchids.
Very
Or even just cut them shorter or something like that. And like already, I think just that would have made me like maybe soft bloom it. But like the glaringness of it all is just so I have to prune it. I love the concept.
I do love the concept. I'm also going to prune it. I think the hanging amaranthus, it will dry. It will look cool with the webbing.
I love the colors of it too, like how it shifts throughout.
I do love this concentration of pink to the orange orchids. However, you have training in timed tasks to know keeping yourself 5 to 10 minutes. That AIFD, I know because I've taken the test and I've been heavily involved with AIFD at some point in my career, I know that a cleaned table, putting time to have a clean table is part of getting your AIFD. So having that 5-10 minutes, you gotta clean your table, but just wrapping the ends of these, like Matt said with the glue, you could web and then just lay it over and just do a little bit of wire and it would reflect and catch the same webbing. I think the webbing could have been done on a bigger scale. It doesn't necessarily, the thing is, it doesn't have to be in water, it can be done on glass. Yeah. And you could have done really big sheets and then just cracked it apart. I think there was opportunities to make it even better. And things like this could have been tucked in and it would have been fine. It's just editing. It is a very cool concept. It's just not finished or edited quite how I would like.
Ooh.
It's team time.
Team time.
So our team leaders were Beth and, oh my gosh, Kristen. And you can really see things that they love in their designs and some things that didn't quite work out. And so let's start with the first team, Matt.
This is Beth's team, Team Beth. It was Beth as team leader. It was Ace, Mariella, and Connor. And I guess we should talk about what the prompt was for this. They had to create a window display, much like a store window, storefront window display that was both indoor, like inside and outside. So it had to be, fully three-dimensional. And it was to celebrate the launch of the new Melanie Asani collection, which was very kind of like 60s mod, like space race inspired. And so, you had to use your model and you had to showcase their outfit. And they had 3 hours to compete.
Yes.
So Beth's team started off really strong. I mean, you can see
she
that
had a
Beth
concept.
did a strong concept, and you can see that Beth has led many a team in her day because she started off very, very strong of like, this is what I want you to do, this is what I want you to do, this is what I want you to do. Unfortunately, it seems like things kind of fell apart a little bit for them as the day went on, and people kind of, I don't know if they lost steam or lost focus on what they were working on, or if things just didn't work out and then it became too late and like such a fluster of like, what are we going to do to salvage this? Getting to the design, I think that there's some successful things. I think that there's some successful things here. There's some things that I like, there's some things that I don't like. Overall, I'm gonna have to prune it. Because overall, I don't think it's successful. I don't think it successfully showcases the model's outfit. I like these shapes. The judges seem to not like the shapes on the wall. I really dug the shapes. I thought they were really cool. But there's some things that like just didn't necessarily flow to me. Like this pink, they were going to like a Saturn's ring, Saturn's
orbit around her.
And so like the pink up here with the palms and the roses, it's so light and nice, and as it carries around, it just gets so heavy, and like we really lose the orbit, it loses its shape and kind of just muddies up, and I'm not really sure what's going on over here. We got this
Something
girl.
dying. Something's dying.
That is just she
is jumping ship and she's not supposed to be.
And overall, like honestly, they spent all this time building this giant mat of baby's breath for behind the model, and I don't think it was needed. I think it honestly, if anything, it detracts from the model of the model's outfit. I do like this like blue platform and the baby's breath. I like the color play overall. Like I think if this was the purple down here was a little bit lighter and done better, I feel like it would have really kind of been successful. Remove that. I feel like it could have been successful. But it's a prune.
I prune it for almost kind of the same reasons. I think this whole baby's breath wall, they could have elevated her and just made it seem more almost like she's hovering on a star or something.
Yeah.
Have it be almost a detailed little spaceship, or like make it more futuristic. And I love this.
So what's this box?
I
What's on there?
don't understand this and this. This needed to have a gradient that was more cohesive. This is also something we've seen all over Instagram, and we'll see it in the other design also. It's just that chicken wire with a little bit of foam in it, just mass, just to make mass. And I got what she wanted to do, and I'm so sad I didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
Because this is not a Saturn ring. This is every other event done on Instagram in mass, to me. The outfit being this pale yellow, also, yeah, with the baby's breath wall, it's not highlighted. She's a beautiful model, and you can barely tell. I do like that they did focus her in the center with the like raised highlighted spot.
And I love her with the single, like I feel like the pose that they chose for her with the baby or with the bird paradise, it is so strong. I would have loved to have seen it without the baby's breath distracting.
I wish she would. They did have bubble wrap up. I wish that Beth had went through like she did with the bubble wrap and did it to the baby's breath and just ripped it all down. I know that their team also I am pruning because the communication really wasn't there. While they did kind of raise Ace and Connor up, they were not as seen as communicating with Beth. Beth seemed to have like kind of lost herself in they're doing one thing, I'm doing another thing, Mariella's doing another thing, and I want all them to be done how I want. And there wasn't the connecting communication between it. So she's tearing down bubble wrap while the boys are trying to put something else up. Connor and Ace did handle a little bit better. You can tell that they have been on teams more for large events, and they just went, if she's going to tear it down, she's going to tear it down because she's the leader, and I'm just
you could definitely see,
a designer.
In this one, you could definitely see Connor's like, yep, like tell me what to do, I'm here to do it. I'm like,
we see Mariella again, kind of butting heads, but I don't see Elle as her fault as this time. There was bad breakdown of communication, because she was filling the space.
I think Mariella is used to leading teams and not working with teams.
But you do also need good communication of the leader. If you want something, you have to do more than just verbalize. If it didn't happen the first time, pick it up and actually physically show a chunk of it. Yeah. And I think there was a disconnect there. And so it is a prune. It's multiple designs in one thing. Could this all have been a very beautiful heavenly kind of concept across the whole thing? Yeah. Could we have geometric shapes across the whole thing? Yeah.
There's just the Saturn's ring across the whole thing.
There's about 6 or 7 different designs all across the board. So it's a prune, unfortunately. I'm going to start with this baby.
Go for it.
She's a prune. She is just, this was a game of whose wasn't the worst. It is.
I don't agree with that. I agree with that statement. I can't argue with that statement.
Again, we have multiple concepts into one design. And while the judges loved whatever was happening here, there's not clean geometrics. There's random bird of paradise clumped in. This is the trash pile after an event to me. Yes. This is a huge prune because while this is nice, again, we just saw from the other team, it's all over Instagram. It's nothing innovative. I do, however, like how they incorporated the iridescent papers, the iridescent kind of color tones, and the envelopes with their mailbox. Their model is a little bit more tied into the color. But that's it. This makes no sense to this. This scale to this makes no sense. This, again, looks like you just finished an event and you're just unloading it in a pile into your shop. So
that's how I feel about this whole thing, with the exception of, I don't know, with the judges praised whatever geometric stuff was happening here, and I do not like it. I feel like the geometric in the other was much more successful. And this whole outside, Garrett said, it looks like a dump of, it looks like a Lewis Miller, New York, the guy that does the trash can ones, hate. But like it looks like a poorly done one of his.
I don't even like his because it literally is a trash can of flowers, making it look like flowers are trash.
However, this inside, I disagree with you about this inside arrangement. It doesn't match this or match any of this, but this was really, I thought this was really pretty and really dreamy when they showed this, like a close up of this kind of area. It was pretty. I thought it was pretty dreamy, like in a good way. But it didn't match any of this. And this is cool too.
This big old pink flower and this all like pink.
I don't know. Also, like this I would like, I don't know, there's just this big white open space. She's right in front of this logo that they spent time doing. I don't know.
There's no, going back to the logo was smart. Kristen was very smart. She loves her paint. She loves to add color. This needed to be over here, or it needed to be multiple somehow, or a bigger version of it broken up. It needed to be more. Or make it look like a quick galaxy with spray paint. Because you're so good at spray paint.
It's pretty easy to make galaxies too.
Yeah, just get color on it in a clouded kind of way. So that seemed like a very good idea, but it didn't.
However, I do agree with the judge's assessment that this was the least bad of the two.
They loved this one.
They loved it. I don't agree with the loving of it, but I think that this was the
she's a prune
least,
across the board.
She's a prune, but she's prune light compared to the other one.
Everyone's a hard prune. Everything that I saw today did not hit any kind of excitement. If I had a store window, I love windows. I love designing windows, especially windows like this where you can design the wall.
Can I like mix and match? Can I take elements of this design without? Because you know what I'd love to see? You know what I would love to see? Here's what I would love to see, people. I'd like to see this moved like a little bit over here. Let me get this flowing part, let me like bring it up over and like up and out a little bit. And then let me see those geometric pieces from the other team that were on the wall. Let me see those all around and then just get rid of all this. And then figure out something else, all outside, figure out something else to do outside. And that's what I want.
This was all they needed to pillow out. Whether you got babies with or not, because it's so high impact with the envelopes and the message.
But I'm thinking those like bright pinks, and actually, you know what I think that is? It's one of these.
Well, it's awful.
It's not there. It should, because
there's just so many designs in one. Again, it comes back to editing. It comes back to time. They also had an extra person, and that is so valuable. And
it's less work.
To have an extra person and have this be just as on par as the other is kind of disappointing. So,
we gotta have a top bloom of the week.
Let's get into that bloom of the week.
My top bloom of the week is Beth's.
And tell us why.
Because it's beautiful. It's got gorgeous color use. It's to me, it's the one.
It's beautiful.
To me, it's the one that stands like in thinking back of the designs of this week. It stands out the most to me. Kristen's definitely stands out, but not in necessarily all the best ways.
Okay.
I liked hers, but there were a lot more things wrong with that. So Beth's is definitely my bloom of the week.
My bloom of the week is Beth's also. I think the technical skill was elevated. The way that she made this design to basically shove it in Maurice's face.
Yes.
To show, I can do more than traditional design work. It was everything, because when you can show that you've learned, but also just shove it down their throat.
I can't believe we didn't even talk about that last week, though.
Whatever.
Last week, Beth, when you said, "Now I know your taste level," I was cackling on the floor.
So my bloom of the week, sit back over there.
Redemption.
I think she did a really good job of showing she understands what the judges want. That first week is learning what the judges want and how can I use my skill set to do it. She also showed multiple skill sets. You can paint foliage, you can paint stuff, but if you don't understand gradients, tones, shades, and how subtleness and turning even the wrist can do to things, and
Mariella is the one who ended up leaving this week, and I think also in that same note of listening to the judges' critiques, I think maybe that's where she let down, because she did kind of a dated design that wasn't necessarily in the challenge guidelines and didn't do the best in her team setting, which she also had problems with in the first week.
So my bloom of the week is Beth. She did a great job. She did a good thing with color. Was there opportunities? In my opinion, yes. However, it was a very well professionally executed design.
Perfect.
So
that's it.
Catch us every Friday, Floral Fridays. If any of the competitors that watches us and don't think that we have good opinions would love to be on our Floral Fridays, we are live every Friday on the Floral.today Facebook page and the Coach Line Florals page. And you can be our guests. We chill, we hang out, we celebrate flowers, people, and design.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah. So everybody's joined to come watch us, be a guest or whatever, every Friday at Floral.today.
3 p.m. Central Time.
And we also have all of them on CoachBlindFlorals.com, where you can go catch up on all of our old Floral Fridays and all the fun we get up to, all of our fun guests. But
catch us next week. We'll have episode 3. We don't know what the theme is.
We're very excited. Catch us next week, where we also may have some cool Floral Fridays.
Yeah.
We'll see what's going on. Maybe some new techniques in color. I'm intrigued. The judges are way higher level than other floral competition shows.
Very excited about judging in this competition. I was a little nervous coming into it because, I was not nervous about Simon. I knew Simon would be great. We know Simon. Maurice, I was like, I don't know, because I've seen like I like his Instagram
Yeah.
stuff, but it's just, it's just an Instagram. I wasn't, a little unsure after a big flower fight, and the way that the judges are all hitting their stride together, and they've got a great rapport with each other and with the contestants. It's great.
I think they did a really good job getting the contestants because they do have personality. They're in their own realm, but they work well together.
Also, can we celebrate how queer this show is?
I do want to bring that up. We're going to go a little bit farther. We did have on the internet someone, not attack, but in a way come after Adam about how the show he didn't have to be so queer. And it was directed as a personal attack when I read it.
As two big old queers.
As someone that's sitting in a t-shirt dress, someone in his sparkles and his gems, I think that it is inappropriate in our industry if it's something that you don't agree with or you don't like, never personally attack, especially someone that is an established mentor in the industry that is very highly respected. My respect plummets no matter how good your skill is.
This show is called Full Bloom. I want to see pageantry. Gays bring it best, so eat it. Eat the queer fantasy. It's fantastic.
I don't really care because there's so many. Oh, someone's walking by. Hello. I don't really care. If it is who you are, it is who you are. But when you are on the internet, whether you love the design or not, whether you love a person's personality or not, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
I don't need your hate because it's nothing that's worthwhile. Adam did a very good job of educating and responding. Where Matt would have tried to fight somebody.
I would have just been like, oh.
Yeah, Matt, he's very hot-tempered.
But I mean, honestly, it's just unnecessary. So cheers to HBO for making it a very inclusive, and the contestants for being them true selves.
And it's not a big deal. It's not even pageantry. This is the person's expression, and it's not super highlighted. It's nothing super. Oh, we have to have the drama.
Yeah.
Respect each other. Respect each other's design, and just learn to love each other.
And be nice to each other.
We'll see you next Monday. Bye.